Recently I noticed that for whatever reason I can't seem to finish listening to a single song. And I don't know if this is just me, but it was upon my rediscovery of this thing that I realised that this might just be something that Steve Jobs was trying to warn us about nearly 20 years ago. Now, if you're between 18 to 30, I'm sure you'll remember exactly what this is. But for those of you that's younger, this is the iPod Shuffle. And its entire function was to shuffle songs you'd uploaded to the device on random. No music libraries, no choosing your favourite song or infinite numbers of playlists. It was literally just press and play. And you're probably thinking, well, what's the significance of some 20-year-old music player that in 2025 has basically zero usability whatsoever? Well, truthfully, it has less to do with the actual product itself, and more so to do with the strange reason as to why Jobs was so adamant on making it to begin with. Back in 2001, Apple announced the release of a groundbreaking new device. Its new functionality that had never been seen before was brought about by one unique feature to the device that made it stand out among all other portable players at the time, aka its screen. Now, as I'm sure we all know, the iPod was a massive hit, with Apple selling over 400 million of them during its lifetime. But this brings about the question that why, 4 years later, in 2005, would Jobs choose to release a borderline shitter version of what made the iPod so great to begin with? The reason is, despite it being nearly 2 decades ago, Jobs saw the signs of an issue that we would eventually all face today. To the average consumer, having the choice of picking whatever song you wanted to hear anytime, anywhere in the world would be an amazing thing, right? Safe to say Jobs was somewhat skeptical about this. But to simply explain, let me first ask you this. When was the last time you found a song you'd never heard before, or one you hadn't heard in a long time, and it made you feel something? I'd like to bet that you can probably think of a time, but not very often. And perhaps today, to some more than others, that just seems normal. But to anyone that grew up in the age of the iPod, or particularly the iPod Shuffle, I'm sure that feeling is all that you can remember. You'd plug your headphones in and you'd press play, and it was serendipity, it was discovery, it was weirdly nostalgic. You got those goosebumps all over your body, you got that rush to your head. But for whatever reason, today I just can't seem to replicate that feeling. I can't seem to listen to the entirety of any song without skipping to the next that I'd already lined up, and I can't listen to anything other than the 3 playlists that I have on repeat all the time. Now, I'm sure someone out there will be able to relate to this frustration, but I can't help thinking that perhaps in some way Jobs was trying to warn us of this. That as convenient and as exciting as it is to curate whatever you want to hear all the time, that comes at a cost that we never really expected.
That's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you.
Things feel dull. Songs feel stale. There's no spike in serotonin when you're listening to the exact same song you've heard on repeat over and over for the past week. Now, I'm not attempting to be one of those gurus who says that you should get rid of your phone and carry around this shitty thing or some notebook to help save your attention span, because let's be real, which fucker's doing that? But recently, in light of this whole situation, I began doing something that I felt pretty compelled to share, because for the first time in a very long time, I finally had that feeling again. Not just once, but multiple times. It was a regular thing. And it all came down to one rule. No matter if it's a song I haven't heard in a long time or it's one that I absolutely love, I cannot press skip. And look, those of you that watch this channel know that I'm not about giving some shitty tips that you're never actually going to use. But without risk of becoming too nuanced, I think this sums up more than just why songs don't feel the same anymore. You know, when I look back, especially recently, I've always chosen to press skip. No matter if it's an awkward situation or like an uncomfortable truth. I've always found the option to just press skip. And at first that was fine, it was like a cheat code or something. But now everything just feels dull. It doesn't feel good or bad, it just feels static. Numb. And I'm not naive to think that I'm special in any way, that this is obviously a problem that lots of people face. But there's never really an explanation as to why. Which is why I think today more than ever, the shuffle is so significant. And no, I'm not trying to overanalyze or anything here, but to me, the shuffle was a philosophy curated into existence in a time where it didn't really make sense. It's only now, when every segment of our lives are perfectly adjustable, perfectly customizable to our every single need to make us feel comfortable, that we appreciate how important letting go of control of everything really is, of just discovering, of just letting things happen. Now look, if you disagree, please let me know in the comments, I'll be right there, but rumour has it a lot of you watching aren't even subscribed, so if you could please do that, that would mean a hell of a lot. But of course, remember to pop a gingy, stop pressing that skip, and you'll be alright.